Today I'm going to be telling you guys about my extremely simple strategy to grow my money. Quick disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not saying you should do this, I'm just saying this is what I do personally. Today I'm going to be talking about investing in yourself, investing in the markets, and knowing how your money works. Number one, I would say, is the most important thing, and that's before you start to worry about investments or anything like that, you need to know how much money you're spending per month. Personally, what I use Rocket Money. I love Rocket Money. I don't work with them at all. No affiliate links. But if you do want to sponsor me, hit me up. But yeah, so Rocket Money is amazing. About $10 a month, but it's amazing because you can see how much money you're spending, what your net worth is, detailed reports. It tells you guys subscriptions. Absolutely love it. And then when it comes to knowing your monthly expenses are, you can then from there start to create a budget. The number one problem with people is not that they don't have enough money, but it's that they have life inflation. And what life inflation is every single time you make more money, you spend more money because you try to improve your lifestyle. It's a thing when it comes to being human. I know right now I'm doing some house hacking. I have a whole bunch of roommates. We live in a small house, so even though our rent is really expensive, our rent's really low, and that's amazing because we can live in a place where there's a lot of opportunity, and since we have a ton of people living in the house, we can make our rent so low. Like for example, I think right now we have 7 or 8 people living in the house, all contribute towards rent. So think about how much that lowers our cost of living. After you know how your money works and you have it dialed down, you know how much money you're making every month, how much money you're spending, then from there you can really start to see improvements. After you understand that, I would say it's probably hands down the most important thing. Before you go investing in the markets, you need to have an emergency fund. When shit hits the fan, you want to make sure you have money to pull out from it. The whole point of the emergency fund is not to touch it. So personally, what I like to do for my emergency fund / my extremely simple investment strategy is I just invest into a high yield savings account. The only difference between a high yield savings account and a normal savings account is the amount of interest you get paid every year. So for example, my normal savings account, I think the interest rate was 1% per year. So that means if I were to not spend a single dollar for an entire year, my account would grow 1%. To put that in perspective, inflation in a healthy economy is 3 to 4%. So that means even if you were in a healthy economy, your money would still be losing value every single year. So if you're gonna put your money in a savings account, you should put it into a high yield savings account. The reason why I love them so much is because they pay 5.25% APY per year. Well, let's just take some simple math. How you would do this math to calculate how much money you're making per month from your account, take the total account value, and then you divide that by, so you take your total interest and then you divide that by the amount of months in a year, which is 12. So that means every single month I'm getting 0.4375% from my account. Okay, let's just take some simple numbers. So let's just say I have $100,000. $100,000. This is just an example, by the way. I'm not saying that's how much money I have. Multiply that by 0.04375. Every single month I'd be making $430. And that's not including compound interest. Imagine every single month you get $430 to do literally nothing except for just save money. So what I also do is I put about 10% of my money into like the S&P 500. S&P 500 is the top 500 companies in the world that are all publicly traded. So that means you can go on the internet, you can like search them up on Google, see their stock prices. So it's the top 500 companies. And essentially all it is just a basket of stocks. So instead of buying, like for example, Apple, Google, Facebook, you can just buy them all together. So that's called an index. I would buy the VOO, which is just a basket of stocks. It's ran by Vanguard. Vanguard is an amazing company. I don't really like it that much because you only make money when it goes up. Actually, I'm gonna get that a little bit later. My favorite thing to do is Forex trading. I love it because you can make money if the money's going up. You can make money if the market's going up or if it's going down. But the problem with that is it's definitely demanding on your time. And since I've been doing sales now, it's really difficult for me to trade. It's just hard for me to find time to do it. Especially I know for me, like, I like to really analyze my charts before I get in them. So just right now, it hasn't really been applicable. I know my monthly expenses. I never spend more than $2,000 per month. I put pretty much the majority of my money in a high yield savings account. It grows every single month, 0.43%. This is the last thing, and that is I invest in my skills. I invest more money into my skills than I do the markets every day. Because if you invest in yourself, you're gonna get returns way higher. For legal reasons, I can't say how much money I made this month. I cannot believe it. I made literally the amount of money I made last year, I made literally half of that in 1 month. I get objections all the time. I've never heard a day in my life on the doors, except for since I trained for them and I bought courses that taught me about them. When people then hit them with me, I'm like, oh, that's easy. For example, yesterday I was with someone and they said, they're like, oh yeah, they're like, you know, I would do it, but if I was gonna do it with anybody, I would do it with my buddy because he owns a solar company. Never heard that objection a day in my life, except for on the course. I'm like, man, I totally get that. But the fact that you don't have solar panels shows to me that you're your buddy doesn't care enough about you. Because if he did, right now you have a system on your roof with a killer deal. And that's why your neighbors know and love me as a solar guy. Then after that, I ended up setting the appointment. And that's my point. It's because as soon as you start to invest more in yourself, your skills increase. And guess what happens? As your skills increase, the amount of money you make increases because you become more valuable to the marketplace. The only thing that is preventing you from making the amount of money you want to make is you are not valuable enough to the marketplace. And that's the problem with education. Like, not education, I mean like the formal education path. Things like grades, it's all about me. So I got 100, I got a 90, all this, my GPA was 3.4, stuff like that. That's all great, but when you get a high score in school, you're not actually providing any value to anybody. You're just getting a good grade for yourself, and that's it. And that's why smart people oftentimes struggle after they get out of school, because their entire life they've been taught, hey, if I do well, that means I'm gonna do good. And that's not true. You have to help other people in order for other people to help you. The most successful people in the world, whether you hate them or you love them, they have the biggest amount of impact on life, which is why every single year they make more and more money. That's the truth. You can be upset about it, you can say they're scumbags, whatever. The truth never changes. So until you start providing more value, until you start helping more people, you're never going to make more money. Just get that to your head right now. So anyways, I digress. If you want to not die broke, first things first, you need to manage your money meticulously. I would highly encourage you to use something like Rocket Money. I love it. It shows you my net worth, amount of my money I have on my accounts, my spending, my subscriptions I need to cancel. Then from there, I would highly encourage, before you invest in anything, start putting money aside in a savings account. Start as small as 10%. 10% of your income, hell, even 5%. Just start putting money away. Because believe me, it accumulates really fast, because the more money you make, the faster it grows. Then from there, I would say number 3, once you start to have some money in the savings account, then if you want to, put money into things like the stock market. You can get mutual funds, index funds. I'll talk more about that in another day. Number 4, I would say, is probably the most important thing aside from knowing how your money works. And that is, if you truly want to make more money, you have to invest in yourself. I don't care if it's $10,000 or if it's $100,000. Buy it if you think that it's going to help you. Because trust me, it will. Even if you may not see a return right away, I guarantee you it will give you a return in the long term. I bought bad books. I've gotten bad courses where I spent like $8 grand and they've been like complete scams. And I've learned something from it. And because what you learn is, okay, like for nothing else, even though I lost money now, does it suck? Yes. But what it taught me how to make better decisions. So now when I'm in the future and I'm doing a deal for $8 million or $800,000, I'm not gonna face as many problems, because I'm like, wait a minute, when I was younger, I faced the same problem and I thought it didn't sound right, but I did it anyway, and this is the lesson I learned. That's why I have to say, and also one more thing before, these are my departing words. Someone told me, about a year ago, they're like, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And my word for them is, if it sounds too good to be true, the person that probably said that is probably poor. The person that told me not to come down here is poor. There's like, well, Aaron, if it's really that easy, why is it that someone like me had to go to school for 10 years to make the kind of money that these kids are claiming to make? The truth is, it's not too good to be true because it's not easy. And that's why we get paid stupid money. Because we do what the majority of people cannot do. Long story short, if someone tells you something sounds too good to be true, but you see other people in that space that are killing it, it's not too good to be true. It's just that it's going to be extremely difficult to succeed. You're going to have to run in the wall over and over and over again. And it might take you 100 times, it might take you 1,000 times. But once you get through that wall, I promise you, it will be worth everything. For me, I ate shit for 6 years. 6 years straight. Failure after failure after failure after failure. Lost like 50 grand. My word for you guys is, even though it's hard, even though I know it sucks, keep on pushing and do not quit. Because in the end, it will be worth it. I will persist until I succeed. I have to tell myself this every day. And I promise you, if you tell yourself you will persist until you succeed, you will. Do not quit. Just when things get hard, keep pushing. I promise you, things are gonna get easier. Just keep on going, guys, and do not quit. So,